Everyone, welcome to my channel History Learning. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Causes of the Revolt of 1857. In the previous video, we had discussed about political causes. Today we are going to discuss about administrative causes and economic causes. Let's have a look. Administrative causes. The first point is difficult to adjust to the new administrative system. The people who had been acquainted with the traditional system of administration, especially under the Mughal Empire, found it difficult to adjust to the new system of administration introduced by the British in the conquered and annexed regions. Next point is loss of benefits and privileges. The British system of administration was radically different and it affected the vested interest of classes and individuals who had enjoyed certain benefits under the traditional administrative system. For example, a large number of pious and learned men, as well as educational and religious institutions, were granted rent-free lands by Indian rulers. By appointing the Inam Commission, the East India Company's government confiscated the rent-free lands on a large scale, which led to the ruin of a large number of individuals and institutions. The changes and experiments in the land revenue system brought misery and ruin both upon the landlords and the tenants. Next point is the rule of law. The British introduced the rule of law, which was a desirable practice. The rule of law implied the principle of equality in the eyes of the law, irrespective of the high and the low, the rich and the poor, the weak and the strong. However, those persons claiming a privileged position or preferential treatment which they had been enjoying resented this kind of legal system. On the other hand, the poorer and the weaker sections did not get any benefit from the new system due to complicated procedure that caused delay and involved heavy expenditure. Our next point is unpopular features of the British administration. There were a number of unpopular features in the administrative system introduced by the British in India. The English officials were not accessible to the people. Thus, the people could not place their grievances personally before them, as they were accustomed to do so before. The people also disliked the new system of British administration as it functioned as a machine and lacked personal touch. The English laws were quite strange and the common people could not understand them. Besides, the substitution of English as the court language in place of Persian was not welcomed by the people. Our next point is exclusion of Indians from higher administrative posts. Indians were excluded from higher administrative service, both in civil and military spheres. They lacked faith in the honesty and sincerity of the Indians. Indians and racial prejudice were other reasons why the Indians were denied higher positions in the administration. Thus, complete exclusion of Indians from all positions of trust and power in the administration and the manning of all higher offices both in the civil government and the military forces by the British brought forth discontent and a sense of humiliation among the people. All classes of Indians resented the deliberate policy of the British excluding Indians from higher offices. So they were the administrative causes. Now we'll have look on economic causes. Our first point is ruin of the mercantile class. The British deliberately crippled Indian trade and manufacture by imposing high tariff duties against Indian goods. On the other hand, they encouraged the import of British goods to India. As a result, by the middle of the 19th century, Indian exports of cotton and silk goods practically ceased. So this ruined the mercantile class. Next point is destruction of Indian manufacturers. The British commercial policy of promoting the import of machine-manufactured cotton goods to India from England led to the destruction of millions of Indian manufacturers. especially those who were associated with the cotton textile industry. When British goods flooded Indian market and threatened the outright destruction of Indian manufacturers, the East India Company's government that ruled India did not take any step to prevent the tragedy. The situation was so bad in the case of Indian cotton industry that Governor General Lord William Bentinck reported in 1834-35. The misery hardly finds a parallel in the history of commerce. The bones of the cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. Similar effect, though to a much less extent, was produced on other industries. Indian iron smelting industry was practically wiped out by cheap imported iron and steel from England. Our next point is pressure on land. The ruin of Indian industry and commerce and lack of alternate occupational avenues drove a large part of urban population to fall back on the already crowded villages. The millions of ruined artisans and craftsmen, spinners, weavers, smelters, smiths, and others from towns as well as villages had no alternative but to pursue agricultural activity that led to a pressure on land. Thus, India was transformed from being a country of combined agriculture and manufactures into an agricultural colony of British manufacturing capitalism. Our next point is impoverishment of Indian peasantry. Land was the chief source of income. Various methods of revenue settlements led to the impoverishment and misery of the peasants. The demand of the zamindars in those areas where permanent settlement was in existence or of the government where the rotatory system was in practice was too heavy for the peasants. Natural calamities like floods and famines added to the misery of the peasants. They were exploited by moneylenders who usually confiscated their land for failure to repay their debt. English settlers monopolized plantation industries like indigo and tea. The inhuman treatment and persecution of the indigo cultivators by the European plantation owners was one of the darkest and most tragic episodes in the history of British rule in India. Thus, the economic policies of the British in India affected the interest of the traders, the manufacturers, and the artisans and craftsmen and the peasants. They were reduced to poverty and misery. This in turn created discontent against the British rule. Thank you.